Hello everyone and welcome to the first part of Star Stable's lore timeline. This is an ongoing part series where I talk about each and every one of Star Stable's chronological events that contribute to its main story. In this video, I will be discussing the Pre-Starshine Legacy era of the games and how Jorvik, Duskgirl and Pandora all came into the mix with each other. Some things might be theories, but only if there's concrete evidence suggesting such, and I will say so if it is an assumption. So let's get into it. Our journey begins with the story of the island. The legend says that Jorvik once was a lifeless rock in the middle of a dark and cold ocean until the day a star fell from the sky, possibly the mysterious UFO. From the impact of the star emerged a girl on horseback, shining from within with a glowing light. She turned the desolate location into a beautiful island full of greenery, wildlife, and magic. This girl is known as Aideen, the goddess of Jorvik, who shares the connection between a horse and its rider. Aideen began to plant eternal life-warden trees across the island to maintain peace and protect Jorvik from evil as their roots connected with each other and even reached deep into other worlds. As civilization began to thrive, however, some witches from other European countries migrated to the island known as the Vala. Some evil witches even went out of their way to put specific primeval trees that grew golden apples to sleep, as its magical properties could turn them good again. Somewhere in another dimension called Pandora, an evil monster known as Garnok attacks the native creatures of the planet. They are able to detain him, however, trapping him on a starship and flying to the edge of the universe where the Pandorans are going to imprison him. During the Bronze Age, around 3300 BC and 1200 BC mid-transit, Garnok's henchmen attacked the guards on the ship and they began to crash down into the earth. The starship crashed at the bottom of Jorvik Bay, and it took years before the Pandorans regained consciousness and a sense of awareness. They trapped Garnok and his generals under the ocean and made an agreement with the humans on Jorvik to grant them the power of Pandora's guardians, being the sun, star, lightning, and moon circles to protect the world for generations to come after Garnok attempted to break free from his prison. Somewhere around this time, whether it was before, during, or after the starship crashed, a Pandoric meteor shower occurred. This particular shower happened just outside of Jorvik, spreading Pandorium and minerals all across the island. The magic of the event turned Jorvik wild horses into starbirds, giving the white steeds their rare blue markings, manes, and tails. During the ages of the Romans, the travellers known as Magoi began to chart and navigate the connection of routes of the life wardens, naming it the Wheeled Weave. In October of 1218, a traveller by the name of Jon Jarl received visions from God of the island of Jorvik, guiding his ship to the shores of his first settlement. Jarl wanted to symbolise his ownership of his newfound land, so he ordered for all of the magical runestones across Jorvik to be destroyed. In efforts for this task, Jarl's friend named Magnus Steiner crafted Runehammer, which was a powerful splitting maul capable of destroying these stones. Jarl specifically commanded him to destroy the runestone by his stables, which was Jorvik's stables, and by doing so it made all of the horses go mad from the disruption of magic. Another individual part of this fleet, known as Galliper Thompson, made a deal with a Vala witch named Sive for his immortality, cursing him for eternity. After the runestone incident, Jarl eventually made friends with the druids who resided in Old Vassaldale Steep of Hollow Woods, choosing to follow Aideen rather than his own faith with the Lord. As a token of their agreement, the druids gave Jarl a life-warden tree sapling, although he wasn't allowed to plant it, just keep it safe with him. People became mad for Jarl's change in allegiance, and he retaliated with an attack on his own civilians. At the cost of many lives, Jarl won the battle, and the only survivor remaining was Thompson. He discovered his secret of eternal life and demanded to know how after becoming envious. However, Thompson remained silent. Out of anger, Jarl ordered Thompson's execution, which failed as his headless body rode off on his nightmarish mare, his soul to haunt and despise followers of Jarl. In April of 1263, Jarl's life came to an end and he was buried by the Thorn Rocks with the Life Warden seed and part of the life ceremony book, which was hidden there by the Druids. Now we jump to 500 years later on September 2nd, 1798, where a man by the name of John Sands grieves over the death of his wife Rosalinda as she was burned at the stake for the accusations of witchcraft practices. In his diary, Sands describes his time as the point of his spiritual death and that a darkness began to consume him. Just 10 days later, Sands began to hear Garnok's voice from the bottom of the ocean for the first time during Rosalinda's funeral. It was a little whisper at first, but when he was alone, he heard Garnok say to him, "John, follow me, and everything will be yours." Sands saw that as an opportunity to bring his beloved wife back, so he accepted Garnok's offer, which granted him immortality. Around the beginning of the 19th century, myths were spreading around of a monster, possibly Garnok, lurking outside Jorvik Bay, swallowing up ships and having stories written about it until the churches burned all of the books. After Sands began to serve Garnok, he was slowly slipping into madness and losing hope in saving his wife, as Garnok told him not to socialise with other individuals on January 4, 1804. On October 31, 1815, Sands loses hope for Rosalinda's revival, and he only strives for Garnok's freedom, as it will rain down chaos on the people of Jorvik that executed him. Sands adopted a new name of Sangorda and many other aliases in his search of Garnok to free him. He made his first appearance in the Jorvik correspondence in 1871 as a carcass was pulled from the Kraken depths outside Jorvik Bay by Captain Sandy or Mr. Sanders. Before any scientific experiments could have been conducted, however, he dropped the creature back in the ocean. Taking on a new alias, Owen D. Sands established Deep Core in 1890 to mine unknown metals and minerals, Pandorium and possibly Draconium, within the island of Jorvik, which was said to be the start of its industrial revolution. Although business was booming with this new corporation, a drilling accident occurred in 1903 within the Deep Core mines, with speculations of it killing up to 90 workers as they were trapped during the cave-in. A year later, in 1904, it was revealed that 211 workers and 14 civilians were killed in the cave-in gas accident, in which Deep Core officially shut down its facilities across Jorvik. Sometime later, however, the company was re-established under whichever alias Sangorda was at the time as Dark Core, with the same drilling intentions and expanding their search to the oceans, also in search of Garnok. In 1933, this generation's soul riders were trapped and lost in a ditch in Old Gravefield northwest of Jorvik, claiming to have seen a ghost within the ruins, possibly the ghost of Frick. A search party went looking for them, but who found them was a Jorvik wild horse named Little Starshine. As documented in Mississippi Jones's diary, Sangorda goes under the name John Sandman in 1959 as he claimed to be part of the Fir Groves Council. Sandman later married Annabelle Silverglade in 1964 and began to open up to her about the voices he was hearing. He told her that she was to be part of a dark plan and she ran away from the marriage in fear, keeping her pregnancy a secret from Sandman. Elizabeth's generation of soul riders began to train and fight the battles of Jorvik. This is the time where Eva's and Catherine's accidents occur. However, we'll go more in depth about those events and memories in a future part. The current incarnation of Starshine was chased away from his herd by a vicious pack of wolves as a foe. He grew up on his own, wandering the woods until he came across Jorvik stables as a yearling. Herman began to earn Starshine's trust, and he eventually took him in, taking care of him for years to come. A druid named Evergrey came by to meet Starshine before he was soon exiled to the north. He began to explore and chart Pandora, attempting to find a cure to its sickness. A little girl by the name of Lisa has yet to discover her powers, growing up in Texas and enjoying riding and music. When she was 9, her mother had a riding accident that killed her, and Lisa never rode a horse again. On the other side of the world, 3 girls named Linda, Alex, and Anne grow up in Jorvik, an island full of horses. Herman introduced Anne to Concord at dusk for the very first time, and she wrapped her arms around him, already feeling a strong connection. Somewhere else down the road, Linda met Meteor and Alex met Tinkan after she grew up living a rough life. She never mastered the skills of horsemanship, however she grew a great bond with her steed. And that brings us to our next part, the Starshine Legacy era. Stay tuned for the next part of the series where we talk about the power of these girls and their horses awakening. Thanks for watching.